I can't wait to listen to the speaker of today. So I want to welcome us all, those online. We have many people online now, and those of us in this room. I welcome you to the October technical meeting. And I won't want to waste too much of our time. Our plan was to start at 11 o'clock, but we are commencing about 10 minutes or 11 minutes late, but we'll do everything possible to ensure that we finish on time. So at this point, I will invite our president. He would have been here physically. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it, but thank God for technology. He will join us virtually to give us his opening remarks. Please, can you bring up technical?
Yes. Confirm you can hear me, PE?
Hello, technical. Are you there?
I can hear you though, but I'm not sure whether you can hear me in the room, PE. I don't think so. Technical.
We are working on it, sir.
Okay.
What?
So you let me know when the voice can come through.
Almost ready, sir.
Hello, President, are you ready?
Yeah, yes, if you can hear me.
Yes, can you enlarge the picture, please?
Yeah. Okay, so you can hear me, right, PE?
Yes.
Perfect.
Loud.
So I should go for it now, right?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and again, quite excited, as the PE mentioned. We've come into to have the very last technical and business monthly meeting for NAPE for this year, and it's been quite a journey. So I really want to first say a very big thank you to the Continuous Education Program Committee chaired by the President-elect herself and the team for, again, ensuring the consistency that we didn't lose any month in terms of getting the right speakers, the right topic to get this going. So that would be the first thing I want to say. But having said that, let me formally welcome all of you. I also want to reemphasize here that what we continue to do every single month defines who we are as NAPE. The industry listens to us. I mean, if you look at the court meetings we've had recently, be it at the for SA, in NUPRC, or the one we had with NNPC last week, they continue to show confidence in what we do in NAPE as an association that provides the platform for professional development and where we share ideas that will continue to find oil and gas. And therefore, providing this platform for sharing those knowledge, these skills and our experiences continue to solidify the confidence that the industry do put on us in NAPE. So I just want to put that in the room. I also want to, I know the people also do an appreciation at the end, but let me say upfront that Aradel has actually been very consistent in supporting NAPE in all our activities. And coincidentally, in the last 3 years, I think, 2 years ago, last year, and then now this year, they've always, closed our technical and business monthly meetings. So it looks like he's almost a sure banker that we will continue to, and so I can already predict that next year they will also close it. So a big thank you to Aradel for everything you continue to do for us in NAPE and the industry. And looking at the topic, again, this is one of the things we continue to advocate in this country. Yes, we will do frontier exploration, but also we need to sweat and squeeze out whatever that is remaining in our asset, be it abandoned fields or marginal fields and stuff like that. So again, Aradel is going to be sharing that, I believe, today. And lastly, just to say thanks to the chairman, again, who used to be my boss, Ayo, Olatunde, and then, of course, a strong panels, list of panelists that we have from Aradel. So I will dial in. I'll continue to stay on to listen to this. As the PE said, I couldn't be there physically, but again, happy that we've got this option to join. And certainly, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing every single person in that room, every single person dialed online during our conference that is coming in few days, few weeks time. So I'm really looking forward. So on that note, I will now formally welcome everyone and then we can get started for our monthly technical and business meeting. So thank you so much, and back to you, President-elect.
Thank you very much, my president, for that opening remark. Before we go on, I would like to appreciate some of our fellows who have joined us online, and some are yet. I don't know if we have any fellow in here, but those online are past president, a fellow of NAPE, Mr. Alex Taka. Thank you for joining. You've been consistent. Thank you very much. Can we give him a round of applause? We also have our past president, fellow of NAPE and Aret Adams Awardee, Dr. Emmanuel Eno, online. Thank you very much, sir. You've also been consistent. We have Mr. K.K. Kanu, fellow of NAPE, is always with us every month. Thank you very much for joining. We have Chief Orife. Thank you, sir, for joining. Thank you, is a fellow of NAPE and past president. We also have Mr. Wale Shebioba, fellow of NAPE online. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us every month. The 5 people I've called now have been consistent, throughout the year. Thank you very much for your support all the time. So at this point, I will read the profile of our chairman for today's session. And I want to specifically thank him. I've been trying to get him to chair one of the technical sessions this year, but most of the time he's outside the country, But this time, Aradel is fortunate to have him. And NAPE also is fortunate to have him here to be the chairman for the last technical meeting. And it's no other person but Mr. Olatunde Ayodele. Ayodele Olatunde, thank you very much. So I will read his profile now. Ayo is an accomplished oil and gas industry professional with over 30 years of robust multidisciplinary experience. His career spans geosciences, production and reservoir engineering, oil field asset management, field development planning, project management, business planning, economics, commercials, strategy formulation, and execution. Ayo exemplifies the quality of a passionate, high-impact leader with profound technical depth, strategic insight, commercial discipline, exceptional people management skills, and unwavering integrity. Ayo is currently the managing director of Seplat West Limited. Produced 79 wells, 10 produced strings, 3 production facilities, and 2 gas plants, with full responsibility for budget, profitability, and long-term performance, where it drives business improvement by leveraging decades of global experience, state-of-the-art technology, and sound business judgment to deliver exceptional results. Ayo has also served as a director on the board of Newton Energy Limited,
the transformative journey of an abandoned oil field. Again, I would say across our industry, the ability to rejuvenate matured and abandoned field has become a defining capability. It speaks to technical ingenuity, financial discipline, and above all, resilience to reimagine what is possible when data, technology, and teamwork converge with purpose. So the revival of an abandoned oil field represents not merely a technical endeavor, but a strategic transformation, converting dormant potential into a sustainable value. So today's session will actually be powered by the RDL holding team. And I will say thank you. I join the chairman and the president and the president-elect to thank you for sponsoring this. So the speaker will be Mr. Collins Alaka, who is RDL Holding WRFM manager. Mr. Collins is the WRFM manager for RDL. He has 36 years, more than 36 years of cognate experience, both local and international. E&P. He had worked with Schlumberger, Chevron, Shell, Cypher, Crescent, and RDL themselves. And the key area of expertise is wide. So when we say WRFM, we know very wide. So I believe it's going to cover end to end. It's going to be full circle of how we turn a dormant field into a valuable asset. So his previous leadership role include NOV Asset Development Manager for SPDC, Domestic and Gas Business Opportunity Manager for SPDC, and the Technical Director for Cyber Crescent. And he holds a BSc, Masters in Engineering from the University of Port Harcourt. I would say, please, you all help join me to welcome Mr. Collins Alaka. So I will yield the floor to you so you can do justice to the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, colleagues seated right here in the hall and colleagues online. It's a great opportunity to be here this morning. And I want to start that by saying that RDL want to show profound thanks to NAPI for putting this technical workshop together. And we're here this morning as RDL to share our experience on how we have done something. And the topic of discussion, or what we're going to be discussing, presenting today, is From Shadows to Shine, the transformative journey of an abandoned oil field. You can give me this. This to move forward. Okay, so you might see close and control. So we're going to be sharing our experience with you on all that we've done. I'll also be introducing my colleague that will be doing co-presenting together, Mr. Rigwan, okay? We'll be doing this presentation together, so just say hello to them and then we'll kick off. We're joined together in the hip.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen here present and online. We are very glad to be at this occasion to present what it is that we have done to move an abandoned asset to healthy and profitable production. So.
Thank you very much, Rigwan. So we're going to go straight this morning and then within the couple of minutes we have, take you through the journey of all that we've done within the time limit of about 30 minutes. So I'm going to start by just taking you through the introduction of the presentation. We're going to give you an introduction, a background of the project, and a background of the projects of the fields. Discuss the optimization that we've done on the subsurface, discuss the optimization that we've done on the well, optimization we've done on the facility, and give you the operational excellence philosophy that we want to use to produce this field. And then we'll discuss the potential that arise and that could be of benefit to us and to other companies and to Nigeria as a whole with what we've done. And then we'll come to a conclusion, which we think other people, other operators will be able to take those conclusions, and we work together towards making Nigeria better. So starting immediately, as the title goes, this is what you could see on the right is one of the equipment at the status of when this field was handed over to Aradel. And what you see on the extreme right-hand side is the current status of what it is. So you could see the transformation from something that is old, that is obsolete, that is abandoned, to something that is currently being commissioned to make production. So that's the first still want to show with this picture, and we'll go to show you more about it. So as per introduction, hitting first, we're talking about hollow field in this presentation. So hollow field is in what we used to call OMA 58, and currently now PML 65, is onshore Nigeria and is west, east, and south, very close to Shell OML 22. It was discovered in 1988 by the previous IOC operator with Olo1. The field in terms of structure is a rollover southern downtrop structure with sequence of sands and shale in the Abada formations. As about depth about 8,000 to about 11,000. The field was, after discovery, was developed by the IOC and was put into production in 1992. The key challenges were operational, was close to the crude property, challenges around sand production, and increasing water production. So in 2010, the field was practically abandoned, and that was from where we took the field now, and we'll tell you what couple of things we want to do. Next slide, please. Moving back a little bit on the introduction. So sometime April 2024, about a year plus ago, Aradel went to negotiation to acquire this field. And in April this year, about a year period, we were able to acquire the field. As soon as we acquired the field, we're very specific of what we want to do, that I want to put this field into production. So the first activity we took was the physical assets verification to ascertain the status of this field in terms of road, wellhead, location, subsurface, facility, payments. And after that, we went into an opportunity framing to say, what can we do with this field? What is the best way to develop this field? And then we're able to come out, the outcome of the opportunity framing, and then define that the best way to do it is to develop this field or put this field into maximum value in two phases. The first phase is to produce the field, re-enter into the field, produce from an existing well, look at the facility, do some amending, and to begin to generate money. We're into this business to generate money. And then move into the next phase where we'll look at the field as a whole. An adjoining field is the Olo West and a couple of other fields around that we see potential to do a couple of things with. And then we plan to do this field into a hub, focus in on gas production and also producing oil from the field. So those were the two phase of development that we serve in this field. And this phase of development complies with Aradel philosophy. I'll be discussing the Aradel philosophy later. We have 7-pillar strategic philosophy of how we do everything we do in Aradel to be able to maximize value. So you see that this philosophy speaks to operational excellence, resource maximization, and sustainable development. Next slide, please. So let me give you a little bit of flavor or the background about Olofield. So we said it is in PML 58, formerly OML 50, PML 65, formerly OML 58. In terms of ownership, it was initially owned by ELF. They discovered the field in 1988, and they drilled an exploration wells. We say a lot of bit about the structure of the field. So if you look at the field, there's a minor fault trending fault that separates Olo and Olo West. And my colleague will be discussing about it later from our understanding that they're actually on the same field, sharing the same structural water and a couple of things. And then in terms of the depositional environment, it has a lower and upper shore face deposition. Stratigraphy-wise, it's embedded sand and shales that's of the Miocene age. So you see the structure there. In terms of those giving you a flavor also, an overview of what we summarize from the field pre-acquisition, starting from the reservoir. So there were 3 reservoirs that were developed and produced, and there were 5 reservoirs that were developed or seen but not produced. I will give you the reason for that later. In terms of volume in place, you could see about 53 million scf of oil, about 127 BCF of gas. 5 wells were drilled in oil fields with 19 penetration, which means there were some sidetracks as they were getting done. And in terms of the production history, like I said, production started in 1992 and then pick up, went down, and then the field was actually abandoned in 2010. In terms of giving more information about production, when the field was shutting, production was in the neighborhood of 300 barrels per day. BS&W have increased as 90%. They've produced about 16 million barrels of oil there and 25 BCF of gas. Estimated recovery from our studies and everything we do was about 30%. In terms of reservoir drive mechanism, was predominantly aquifer driven. Gas was flared because there was no gas solution. Surface facility have a capacity of about 10,000 barrels per day. Key issues were the fluid property vis-a-vis wax and aspartame. And so the export line was blocked, water production was increasing, oil production was decreasing, and it decreased to that about 300 barrels per day that we talked about, and there were some issues with the surface facility. Next slide, please. So just to give you a little bit of the production history of the field, can you just be ticking the slide? There was some, yeah, just move one step, or just kick one step more. Okay, so the field started production with, there were 4 wells in the field. The field started production with Olo 1, and then came in Olo 2. That moved production to about 5,000 barrels per day. And then after some time, they came in Olo 3, and then it picked it about what we said, about 7,500, which is the highest production of the field. And then Olo 1 quitted, and Olo 2 also was shifted to under reservoir, and that production was started declining, and then we have to bring in these 2 wells to increase production. Just click again, and then we brought in Olo 5 that brought production in, and after then, the field production started declining and water started coming in. And as you know, once water start coming in, production, and so you have this shape production going down and water coming in. That happened, can you click more? That happened to somewhere around 2007 when production actually declined to about the 300 barrels, 300 barrels we talk about, and then water have already got to close to 90%. So you could see that profile, and then later in 2010, production was around the 300 we said about, and water also was also high. So that was about when the field was abandoned. So if you look at this production historical history, you will see that the pick up production and then started declining very fast, and then water started coming in. A couple of reasons for this, people will discuss it later, but looking at this, we're able to deduct some challenges, you know, and some issues, and then those issues and other study we did led to what we are going to be doing in optimizing the field. Slide. Just move on next slide, please. Good. So let's discuss the project that we put together based on the physical asset verification, based on the discussion around the opportunity framing that we did, and a lot of other story that we did. So the key driver of the project we put together are about 4. Early production to generate revenue. And we have a 6 months mandate to do that. And then increasing recovery. So looking at the study and everything we did, we found out there's a potential of recovery. There's bypass oil. There's some zones that were not perforated that could be perforated to increase volume. So that was about optimization of subsurface volume. And then putting up a project together that will sweat the assets and get maximum value from it. There were a couple of things that should have been done optimally, like gas lift and artificial lift optimization that were not done, a couple of them. So put all those together. And in doing that, we sweat the asset, ensuring that we reduce OPEX and also reduce our CAPEX, you know. This will also improve value for us and safeguard a reputation in terms of what Aradel is known on and what we've built on. Next slide. So these are just key highlights. I will not go through all, you can read, but in terms of the finding from the physical asset verification, we find out the facility is just a 2-phase separator. So you have to, you know, water has to be transported along, and the cost and the issues that it has with the line. So that was seen. And we do an assessment of the facility. It was vandalized. If we want to revamp it, what will it take? We take close to 18 months to 24 months. That is actually out of our mandate and guideline of how we want to bring this field into production. Some of the wells were sand up, flow line and pipeline were harvested. A couple of equipments were already obsolete. So getting this information and then putting this information into the next slide, which is what we got from the opportunity framing. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah. From opportunity framing of knowing that we want to develop the field in 2 phases. The key stuff that we came up with, the re-entry project, is we're going to be having a 6 months to fix oil mandate. We're going to establish roads, intervention to gather more data. We found out that from where we see the field, data acquisition is quite important to be able to put everything together, establish the data, and then to be able to optimize production and recovery. And then we're going to bring a modular crude processing unit, because within the time frame of 6 months that we have and the estimate time that we're seeing to be able to get a facility in place and revamp, it wouldn't align with what we're saying. So we talked about that too. And then we're going to talk about the phase 2 development, which has to do with focusing on gas and the adjoining fields around Olo, you know, to be able to maximize production, doing appraisal and get into gas development. Next slide, please. So these were all the strategy we put together. So what actually did we do? What is the difference that Aradel is bringing to this field to be able to ensure that it maximizes and bring this, add more value to these fields? So these are the things different that we did. So we're going to acquire data, which we've acquired. The completion have already been designed and optimized to be able to get more information, more reduce our footprint and maximize recovery. Artificial lifts will be put in place because we saw that BS and W is increasing, and then artificial vertical lifts with a challenge. So you need to do that. We are doing that. We're going to be injecting chemical, good well and reservoir management strategy to be able to ensure that we look at why we are producing, we don't jeopardize recovery. AG solutions to be able to utilize gas is there, and then we are not going to be flaring. In as much as we're going to be putting our production philosophies to sway the asset, the philosophy is that we are not flaying, production flaying. There might be technical flaying when you want to do startup or a couple of things, but production flaying is going to be 0. And so those are some of the difference that we're bringing into the way this field will be operated, philosophy, in terms of our philosophy as we move on. Thank you. Next slide, please. So let's put some more details into what I've just said now. So in terms of the wells and the subsurface, like I said, we're going to be doing appraisal. What is the objective of that? We want to increase volume because we saw opportunities to be able to, the deeper horizons have not been fully appraised. We're going to be acquiring data. That data will help us do well placement, even our perforations, optimize our perforations in terms of the data that we'll get. Like I said, embedding WRFM, which is one thing we've been doing, but bringing it to this field to ensure that as we're optimizing production, we're also optimizing recovery to balance those two, together, because there are two balls that you have to balance at the same time. Next slide, please. Zooming into the well specifically, like we said when I was discussing the production history, sand production was one of the problems in this field. So to be able to mitigate that, we're going to be putting sand exclusion in place, downhole, to be able to ensure that we don't have issues with it. Will not allow us, will not end up shutting in our wells, and then we will not jeopardize the integrity of our surface facility while we're ensuring maximum recovery. Artificial lift system, gas lift will be is being installed in the fields to multiply rate and recovery. And one other thing that we did that is quite innovative in the way we design our completion is the multi-stream designs. So we're designing the well in such a way that any hydrocarbon that we transverse through, we penetrate to as much as possible is part of what we are going to be producing. So we're not going to be leaving any hydrocarbon unproduced by doing a lot of designs, multi-stream design, multiple completion via penetrations on these ones. On the surface, like we said, it's two-phase, and then we're making it three-phase because we want to be able to manage the water, dispose the water. Part of the completion design that we have a well that have both producing oil and also disposing water at the same time. So those are part of the innovation and stuff that we've done. And some of this learning are based on some things that we've already done in our Obere field, and they're working. So it's like practice, we're just replicating what we've done before, and we're putting it into better use this time. So in terms of the processing instrumentation, we're going to pneumatics, and then for HSE, repeat again, we're not flaying gas because we'll be commercializing the gas and utilizing the gas for our own operations. Water management, before now, the water in this field was being taken and transported all day long to Bonny, via the TMP. With that, we're separating it right at the field and having water disposal well, treat the water and dispose the water. This ensure compliance and also environmental friendliness, which the company is known for. Next slide. So I just want to discuss about this a little bit. Others have 7 strategic pillars that guides almost everything we do, mostly in project management and operation. It has to do with our lean culture. Every waste, we go through a process where for every strategy, for every development, we look at the waste in the system and eliminate them because we have to be profitable. When you are dealing with a marginal field, if you don't put those things off, then you don't end up being profitable. So you will see how we use that later. Performance excellent, we do operational excellent. Growth. You see that the phase 2 of this field that we've discussed is all about growth. The phase 1 is about existing facility, existing well, modifications, but growth 2 is about growth because we've seen more volume and want to make sure that we have replaceable volume in this. Innovations, I've discussed now about the completion and a couple of things we want to do. My colleague also will be coming back to discuss some technology that we're applying. Transparency, whatever we do in terms of, and that's why we've been able to hear now to say what we are doing, because we just put that in the public and to be able to get information from people. Resource development, making sure that every volume we see, we develop it, and value creation. So this will just showing as other key pillars of how we run our project and how we operate. And then we'll zoom by next slide and more how we have implemented it in the OLO projects. Next slide, please. So in the OLO project, you'll see that we have surface value creation. We optimize the volume. There are going to be some perforation optimization, zones that were not completed before, small reservoirs, we're putting them in. My colleague will share, there are some other reservoirs that look like the thought is shales, but it's a combination of shales and sand, and we know those we produce. We are going to also be adding that to our completion design. Innovative completion design, like I said, one of our wells, and we have a couple of those even in our Obere field, is going to be both an oil producer and an injector at the same time. So a couple of things like that we're doing to be able to reduce costs. That's why we say we're imbibing the lean culture on all that we are doing. surface facility, the surface facility will bring in, is going to have a lot of operational excellence in it. And then, like we said, repeat it again, the lean culture and growth. Next slide, please. So I'm going to bring my colleagues to just emphasize more a couple of things on what we did in the subsurface value creation. So read one, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll quickly walk us through what it is that we've done in the subsurface value creation. Next slide, please. So looking at the asset as inherited, we had identified a number of opportunities and threats. As Collins had rightly said, there was a lot of uncertainty around fluid contacts, remaining reserves, bypassed oil. And to cure all of that, we're going to acquire data, and we had zeroed in on the quad neutron technology to help us, first and foremost, delineate the kind of hydrocarbon, if there is, as well as the lithology. As he had rightly said, there were certain reservoirs where prior to running this tool, the belief was there was no hydrocarbon, or the hydrocarbon was even not producible. Well, however, in looking at the result of this tool, it has demonstrated that indeed those reservoirs are hydrocarbon bearing and they can be produced. So there was also early water breakthrough. If you look at the production profile, there was also challenges with water production, and it will also be putting in place mechanisms to ensure that we keep the water back as much as possible. And if by adventure the water does come up on us, we then have in place a water treatment solution that allows us to continue production, without fouling up the environment. Okay, and then there's the last but not the least is also the prospects for deeper hydrocarbon bearing reservoirs. So next slide, please. So this is a depth structure map, for 2 of the 3 reservoirs that have been put into production in this asset. And as you can clearly see, what you have on the east is what the Olo field, and then on the west is what the Olo West field. Now, prior to us Aragel taking over this asset, the belief was that these were 2 separate fields. But in doing our review, and as you can see that the minor fault that separates these 2 pools of hydrocarbon is not extensive. Beyond that fault, you still have 1 single container. And then our belief is we are best served looking at these 2 pools of hydrocarbon as a single system. Because in doing so, we are then able to take into account the effects of production on one side of the fault, what effects it's likely to have on the other side. If we look at them as 2 completely separate fields, we may end up with challenges on the other side that had hitherto not been produced due to the depletion of pressure by the production on the other side of the fault. So the next slide. To further demonstrate the fact that this is really just one pool of, one field, just with the minor fault. We have throws as low as 10 feet in some places, and then I think the maximum you are seeing is less than 100 actually. So you can see a lot of sand-to-sand juxtaposition, which, as we all know, over time, if you continue to produce on one single side of that fault for an extensive period of time, you could potentially have, migration of hydrocarbons where that seal that was originally in place, gets opened up because of the differential pressure across the sides of the fault. So next slide. So speaking to what we applied, it's a quad neutron log tool. It's essentially a reservoir saturation tool. However, it sees a little deeper than a traditional reservoir saturation tool, which then allows us to properly delineate our reservoirs, not just in terms of the lithology. What exactly is it? Is it sand? Is it shale? Is it dolomite? And it allows us to properly characterize the reservoir, which allows for effective recovery and then optimization of our perforations. So next. So I was sharing a number of the results from running that tool. Now, so we are looking at, on this slide, we're looking at reservoirs 6 and 7. So for reservoir 6, and if you all recollect the production profile we had seen earlier, these wells or this field was shot in about 90% PS&W. So at the initial point, the thought was, oh, there's within the reservoirs that have been put into production, there's nothing to be gotten from there again. It's that 90% PS&W is done. But we ran the tool, and lo and behold, the first thing we noticed was on reservoir 6, we had about 30 feet of oil in there, producible, with almost some 60 feet of gas. I know. And then we also took a look at reservoir 7, where we saw a similar scenario where we had significant volume of oil and gas, still producible in spite of the 90% PS&W as of the time of abandonment. But what was instructive was we're able to identify, where we have bypassed oil. If you look at that, the well log on the right-hand side, you'd see just about 10 feet in between the oil column. Where you have the red coloration is the flag for oil. You see just about 10 feet where it's, almost 100% water. And then you still have oil a little to the above that, and then oil below, clearly showing us that you have bypassed oil there. This will be very instructive in doing our perforations. So carrying out this kind of logging in brownfields, could potentially lead to significant improvement in how you recover the hydrocarbon resources. Otherwise, if this information was not available, you're likely to just place your perforations at the crest of the structure, and they may end up being in the water zone, and then you think there's nothing there. But now with the benefit of this information, you can properly place your production perforations to ensure maximum recovery. Okay, so the next slide, please. So for reservoir D, the initial interpretation for reservoir D was this reservoir was, apparently no hydrocarbon. But after running the tool, we actually encountered a situation where we had plus or minus about 30 feet of oil producible. Because you can see the reservoir quality, and that's where you have the dark brown and yellow flag. So you can see that the reservoir quality is pretty good. But the original interpretation was this is wet. But the quad neutron tool has now, helped us to further delineate and, show us that, look, yes, indeed, there's actually hydrocarbon in this reservoir that is producible. Okay, next. So for the well completion design, I'll be bringing Collins back to speak to the well completion design.
Yeah, thank you very well. So I'm going to speak on the well completion design, but the quick thing is that what my colleague had just talked about, the neutron log, is part of the input into the completion design, where the challenge you saw was sand production. So we're installing sand control that hole. Artificial lift we're putting because we saw that water was coming and you need vertical lift problem, and there was artificial lift was not working. But to focus a little bit is on the well completion design. So most of the new intervals that we are seeing, we are going to be optimizing our perforations to make sure we'll catch them. And the multi-stream, we have some multi-stream design to make sure that every horizon or reservoir that is penetrated, we produce it and commingle and produce. Next slide, please. So in center of the surface facility, we also did some optimization. So if you look at it, this is the asset pre-handover to us. This is separator there, dilapidated, vandalized. That's a pump. This is some chemical injection stuff, and this is this tank. All of them, if you go there physically, from what you can even see here, that there are integrity issues, obsolete, and we saw them. And then next slide too, to show you some more. Yes, this is the manifold and some other equipment down. But the most important thing is the next slide I want to show. So this is the next slide. This is what we currently have there now that is being commissioned, and production will take place in a couple of, in a matter of days or weeks. This is the flare stag, not for flaying, just for technical startup, just to let us know, because in this field, we are not flaying. So just for, when you want to start up on a couple of things about production phase. Next slide, please. These are also part of it. So we have the generator. All this we're showing a picture. They're on site. They've been commissioned. They're working. They're just waiting for us to dot our I, cross our T, and we start production. So next slide, please. Like I discussed about, one of the pillars of there is operational excellence. So we're going to see a couple of things. So we have operational philosophy that handle our fluid, our gas, zero flare. We're going to be ensuring that the gas is monetized and utilized. Standard operation procedures. These are all what we have existing in our current assets and we're going to put in place. But one of the things we're introducing into the field from the way, if you look at the production performance, is WRFM. You have to optimize between your offtake, and your recovery, which is very, very important. If you don't do that, then you begin to have bypass oil and you begin to lose recovery. And that will lead us to reducing costs and ensuring that we are compliant to regulator. Next slide. In terms of crude evacuation metering, so the crude, like we said, previously there was a two-phase separator, three-phase separator, so they are going to be fabricated and we'll take them via your baggy line towards Rumek Bay and then towards TMP to Bonny. And then we'll have a large system in place. We're going to be sending the gas via a third party that will take our gas right on the field. And that third party already have three key activity that it wants to do with the gas. You want to use it to generate, there's a data center that is also, it will be giving them power. It's also giving power to some of the communities, and there's a CNG plant that is going to be using some of the gas for. So the gas utilization, commercialization, confirmed with the policy philosophy of not flaring at all. Next slide. So in terms of the crude evacuation, so Olo is somewhere around there. So it's going to hook up with that dot-rated line to your baggy line that is coming from a baggy that is owned by Total, and that will take the crude to Rumek Bay. From Rumek Bay, the crude will go to TMP. And that is the base case. In the alternative case, and we all know what happened to a TMP line, is that we also have a case where this line, there's a line from Rumek Bay that goes to our facility at Ogbele, and for Ogbele, we already have operating for a couple of years now our alternative crude evacuation system. So if anything happens to the TMP, we have an alternative route to get our oil to where it should be. Next slide. In terms of the potential, I'll just call my colleague to take that, and then we'll be rounding up. Thank you.
Thank you. So potential opportunities, we've identified, a number of opportunities within the asset itself. But beyond those opportunities, there's also potential for providing relief for stranded or assets that are considered uneconomic, smaller assets within a radius of 40 kilometers around the Olo field. So if you just go to the next slide. Okay, so this location map pretty much shows you where Olo is centered. If I had a pointer, I'll have shown you exactly where Olo is. It's just that red dot right there in the center of that, rectangle. So you can see within that 40 kilometer around that asset, you have a number of small, fields, all scattered all around. Now, on the next slide, you then see the share. If you aggregate all of those fields together, you then see the sheer volume of resources that are either underdeveloped or stranded. So this has the potential of unlocking significant value for our nation. So if you just next slide. Next slide, please. So what you have here is we've looked at it in segments. 20 kilometers radius, 30 kilometers radius, 40 kilometers radius. And these are small fields, where if you now pull them together, you have this kind of volumes. 143 million barrels, 30 million barrels of condensate, 1.2 billion scoff of TCF, actually TCF of gas. And then within the 30 kilometer radius, you're looking at some 257 million barrels of oil, some 30 million barrels of condensate, and some 1.9 TCF of gas. Within the 40 kilometer radius, you have some 324 million barrels of oil, some 96 million barrels of condensate, and some 2.5 or 2.6 TCF of gas within that neighborhood. These numbers is all from small fields, some 2 million there, 5 million there, scattered all around. This is the potential in harnessing all of those small fields and bringing everything together and bringing them to market. So we can just imagine if we're able to unlock all of these values in the next 2, 3, 4 years, the impact is likely to have for our industry and our nation as a whole. So the next. So by way of conclusion, and looking at unlocking the value for the nation, you can see we've demonstrated capacity, of an independent to create value from fields and assets left fallow by an oil major. We've, RDL is also taking the bold initiative to leverage its innovative strategies and expertise for development of marginal fields. This we've been doing since the days of Ogbele, now with Omerelu, now with Olo. So, and we believe it's part of our operating philosophy to bring all of those stranded or uneconomic in quote fields and unlocking the values associated with those assets. Now, by pursuing abandoned assets and revitalizing them, the company is paving the way for other marginal field operators to unlock value from their resources. We are demonstrating that, look, it can be done, and it can be done in a timely manner and in a profitable manner. Okay. The initiative taken by RDL serves as a model for independent firms, other independent firms can replicate. It represents a vital approach to fulfilling the government's aspiration and mandate for increased production and growth in the, in the sector. There remains significant volume of resources. Just flash back to the numbers with 143, 200 and something million barrels. If that was in a single pool, that's significant find, but this is scattered all over small bits and pieces everywhere. But if we're able to harness all of that, which is what RDL is demonstrating by bringing the Olo asset back into production, we see the impact this will have on our nation as a whole. And the Olo field, as we have in our plan, is poised to actually provide service to other such assets within the neighborhood. To say, if you have an asset, that is either stranded or just sits somewhere low in your portfolio, we're there. We are willing to work and collaborate with you to bring that asset into production in the shortest time possible. So that'll be all for me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we give them another round of applause? RDL, the panels, speaker, everyone, be ready for questions. I'm sure people must have put their questions down. So, Mr. Ridwan, okay, yeah. Okay, sorry, let me just quickly introduce him. He's the technical planning manager for RDL Holdings. He has over 20 years experience. Before joining RDL, he worked with Halliburton. By background, he's a geologist, and he has experience in resource maturation and field development. No wonder you presented, you were the one who presented that aspect of your presentation. Thank you very much. So again, thank you, RDL. For this session, it's so important to RDL and also their law for NAPE that they brought in their group chief technical officer. He's here with us and is going to be one of the panelists, and no other person but Dr. Ebenezer Age. He has over 30 years experience and a proven track record in onshore, offshore, and deep water operations. He led various production engineering projects for Shell across the globe, and is the former chief operating officer for FHN Limited. He holds a master's degree in chemical engineering and a PhD in leadership and management from DBU, USA. He's an alumni of Harvard Business School, USA. and IMD Business School, Switzerland. Join me to welcome him to the podium. Also on the panel, Adeshunya, who serves as a production operations manager. He has manager, oil and gas, business operation, opportunity manager, Aradel, Olu Field re-entry. He led the Aradel Energy Omerelu Field first oil project, and he has 23 years experience in upstream and midstream production operations from Shell, Chevron, and now in Aradel. His BSc is in electrical electronics engineering, and he has masters in business administration and human resources from the UK. And is a member of Nigerian Society of Engineers and member of Chartered Institute of Management, Canada. Mr. Richie Adesunyo, please join us on the podium. Please welcome him with him. At this point, I will invite our chairman to join us here to take over this session. But before we go into that, I would like to also thank our fellows who joined us while the presenter was making his presentation, both online and physically. In this room, we have Mr. Toyin Akinosho, FNAPE. We have Dr. Afemayowa, FNAPE and past president. We have Mr. Ajibola Oyebamiji, FNAPE and past president. We have Dr. Muyiwa Olawoki, FNAPE. Thank you very much for joining. You've always been consistent, sir. Online, we have our Vice President, Eyi Baswaye, who is also FNAPE. Thank you for joining us. And then Dr. Abimbola Duropiton, FNAPE. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone. So at this point, I will hand over the mic to our chairman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, P. P, please. Thank you very much. Thanks to the presenters. I believe we all will agree that it is an excellent, captivating and evocative journey so far. The journey actually signals both technical rebirth and strategic renewal. That's my belief. While that presentation was going on, I quickly put together just a quick summary, just to make sure I put a proper recap on what is presented. First is for us to applaud the courage of Aradel Holding, where it becomes that we've seen how data, innovation, and cross-functional collaboration can breathe new life into the field, once considered abandoned. So the insight they actually shared today remind us that there is value hidden in every shadow. And these values are waiting to be illuminated by our collective expertise and determination. First, I would say the approach that I capture from the presentation is anchored on data-driven asset reevaluation, phased redevelopment, and infrastructure-led execution, just to ensure that technical integrity, economic viability, and early value capture is realized. Again, I won't go back to the summary around the low field. You have a field that discovered 88. As went into production 89, just 1 year. They hit 7,500 as peak production. That's I just want to paint the picture. And within 10 years, it went down to 300 barrels. 300 barrels. So there are quite a lot of story around it. Then it was abandoned in 2010. 14 years after, then awarded to Aradel. So, we're looking at almost 40 years. So let's look back to that. So you have a lot of data, a lot of things to look at. So going back there, they show one of the picture that showed that, look, even on the surface facility, the asset integrity is gone. So when you are taking a new asset that has been abandoned for that number of years, the approach matters. And that is what I believe we're all learning from here. Going back, looking at it, and that is the first thing I took from them, which is going on what I call physical asset verification. Going back into all the data, both surface and subsurface, and really understand what the issues are, what need to be done, and what they need to do, and all that. And I will really not go into the full technical of it. I will only touch the framework. And the reason is, once you understand the framework and it aligns with the global best practice, you can always adopt it wherever you are. I followed closely, and they identify 3 major things within that period in their own preliminary evaluation. One is from the production history that were shown. They talk about high offtake rates and low reserve due to bypass oil. What that means is they understand the fact that you pull quickly, you pull in water. So they have water issue, one hand. Then you want more, you pull, you decline, and then the pressure too went down. So they need a pressure support. And then the final one, they're actually dealing with a fluid that need to be understood, which the property they didn't say out, but from the API gravity or whatsoever it is, it looks like it's not as fantastic as it should be. So it will need some pressure support. And those will form the basis. Again, that's why I said framework and step by step. Those will form the basis for the technical review. From subsurface to surface to production potential, reserve data, recovery factor establishment, revalue, limitation to the asset. When we say limitation to the asset, that is coming into surface to begin to look at, even if I unlock the subsurface potential, what are the limiting elements on the surface that will make me not to realize the values? So they have to come to the surface and look at all that too, that we have to support realizing that potential. And beyond that, they understand the fact that there will be economic review and cost audits. And that is why they didn't show that in that presentation, but I believe in their mind, what they are trying to tell us is, because they repeated it like 2 or 3 times, around lean operation. Lean operation. And I believe the focus is around the CapEx and the OpEx that goes into the redevelopment. Then they move ahead to talk around the water handling which is pressure support first, gas lift and all that. Water handling, which has to do in situ, water handling, which is rejection, I would believe. Okay, at least I can share my experience. It comes cheaper than putting it onto the line. You put water into your line, you will be copying almost about $4 per barrel. But where you inject, you'll be copying about $2 per barrel. So you'll be saving yourself more than $2 for every barrel. And you free up the net RPC you have, and then you'll be able to produce more. So it makes sense. And they went beyond that. What they didn't touch on is HSC community regulatory alignment, because they should come into your plan where you are doing a redevelopment. Then with all that, they come up with what I call clear strategic planning that defined their identity. They identify themselves early enough. So that identity is, the first one is the near cash flow. They want it quickly. So that will underpin whatsoever strategy they had to go with. They want a high impact intervention that can equally be seen quickly. They understand it's a lean operation. They need to do risk, which is why you are saying the quad neutron log. They need to do risk. Go back, run a saturation log, and be able to tell what are the strategic wells that should be available to you. Then, without losing, why doing all this short-term, quick intervention to establish early cash flow? They did not lose their sight on what I call the focused growth, which they have in plan, which is the ramping up. So coming in with all manner of techniques, including the gas monetization, which is in their phase 2, as you know, the facility upgrade that will have to follow and support that future growth, then they will then need to go back, look at the economics and update the life of field economics. Very important. So again, it's not part of this presentation, but it should be well captured when you look at growth. So on the first redevelopment, again, let me come back to a few things. Quick wins reentry is one of the major things they talk about, restore the early production, while that appraisal and development well will be required to do risk. And the whole essence of doing this is they've looked at it, they understand the proven are still there. But those proven are big enough to move. But the proven have moved from proof, develop, and producing to prove, develop, not producing. That is, they have contingent because they have sand, caution, they have water, they are behind pipe and all that. And they equally understand there are some proven undeveloped that will require additional wells, which is part of that presentation for your future. But the good news is that the one for the PDNP, re-entering the well, taking a optimized recompletion strategy, sand control strategy that takes very deep intelligence completion. They are on the verge of commissioning, and surely we should be seeing some volume coming up at any moment, coming up to as much as 3,000 barrels from almost nothing. While you just my little advice again, while you be looking at coming in with gas lift that can support all that, there is always one we always quickly deploy. We call it GSCC, gas liquid cyclone system. It takes your source gas, that is the gas right in your reservoir, that has a bit of pressure to just support. And so you build it, while you are building that mandrel, which does your completion, you can always bring in GLCC that is not more than $100,000, $200,000, correct? Yeah. And again, It can move your production on a well from 1,000 to about 3,000 barrels. The only thing is you have to think of what do you do with the gas, because it's not recycled like in gas lift. It will have to go straight with the oil to the flow station. So that will be an add-on that I will support you with here. So beyond this, I think they've done quite a lot to it. I just look at the deeper potential again. That's part of your growth plan. And going ahead to adjoining cluster. So to go on what I call cluster development is very good. It will actually bring down your UDC. If the marginal fields can do cluster development, then unit development cost will always come down. But everybody wants to be on their own. We actually can come together, huddle together to do joint development so that we can bring down our unit development costs. That's one of those things we have to touch on. So the final one, apologies, because I picked some things and I have to, apart from I made the summary, I have to make my comment. Olo Main and Olo West. Again, I understand what you said, they are one unit, but I think there will be need for you to do more. One of the more is in contact, one of the more is in content, one of the more is in pressure. Whichever way you have to, don't just rely on sand to sand juxtaposition. I will leave you with that. But if you need more, we can always discuss that. And I would say thank you to the presenter. Sincerely, thank you. And every of the participants, for depth of thought and engagements that they brought into this presentation. So I would just leave some quick minutes for the panelists who may want to add one or two things to do that. Sir.
Okay. Once again, thank you for the opportunity. I happen to be the opportunity manager for this Olo re-entry, and it has really enlightened my horizon. What I need to contribute, going to Olo as the business opportunity manager actually open up so many exposures to both the regulator and community engagement. And one thing we enjoy that has really speed up the Olo renting project is the contribution of the collaboration of the community. They are very receptive, so they allow us to work without the usual community issue. That is one of those things that has really helped us in the accelerating the activity in that Olo feed. I will leave you for that. My colleagues we had, and I could be able to contribute to that thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'll yield the floor to.
Why are you guys yielding? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you've made some very germane comments, which I have penciled down here, and would have a sidebar on that. The GLCC, I think, is something novel, or at least a technology that we would like to apply. Let me start by saying that this Olo farming is actually the first company-to-company farm out under the PIA. This is the first one. And we're hoping that we will find more of this. And that's why we're highlighting the collaboration that is possible, if we come together. Just to state that even with our flagship asset in Ogbele, we're already in collaboration with Ingentia, for instance, that they're able to use Ogbele A's, the alternative crude evacuation route for them. So that's one way you can help marginal fields operators. So Ogbele is there, and for the clusters there, Ingentia is coming in. Matrix is also coming in, and in a couple of months from now. So there is potential to unlock value in this country. Olo is another one we're citing there. Our plan is to replicate what we have in the Ogbele cluster, where you have an integrated system. That's what we have in Olo as well. You're going to have both upstream, midstream, and even refinery, a hub where we can then harness all those resources that we see there. They look small, stranded when you leave them individually. But when you cluster it together, it's amazing. I mean, we're talking 100 and something, 200 and something million barrels to be unlocked. So there's huge potential here. You mentioned about HSE and community. We actually had something put together, but there were too many slides, so we had to slice that out. I like to say that HSE is top of our priority. He had said something about the community. We enjoyed the collaboration there. We also enjoyed the cooperation and collaboration of the regulators, the NUPRC, the NCDMB, all the whole 9 yards. They've been very collaborative in us, undertaking this venture. And I think, you would think for an independent, we undertook this and we gave ourselves a stretch mandate. Imagine getting a field and you want to put it on production in 6 months. I mean, it's a demonstration of of capacity. And if not for some of the headwinds that we faced, that field would have been on production today, because we actually got the handover in end of April 2025. So if you count 6 months, that would have brought us to end September. September 30 was actually the first oil date, and it was a stake in the ground for us. But you plan sometimes, and then there are issues with uncontrolled issues that you cannot handle. And that's why it's pushed it a little bit. But as we speak, we're commissioning that facility that you see there. And that's why we tagged it from shadow to shine. It's amazing. You go there, it's like a brand new facility that we've put in there. It costs money. It costs grit, I will say, for us to take the bulls by the hand to be able to get to that state. That's who we are. We are all about value, delivering value to the asset. The other thing I wanted to say was the extent of vandalization. I think the chairman alluded to it. If you're taking on an asset that's been abandoned, watch out. Because, during the transfer process or the farming process, they're like, we've been going there, we've been taking care of it, everything is intact. Guess what? By the time you get there, it's carcass. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. Yeah. So one note of caution for some of us. But let me not steal the shine from the presenters. The thing is, we are out for business. And you guys can come to us, you can collaborate with us. And if you have any asset that is stranded, we can take it on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I believe the P will be directing, but I will be coordinating. So I think I will yield the floor now to the audience for comments and questions, please. Comment and questions, please.
My name is Odediri. I'm a pensioner. If I listen to you from the first speaker, you said that the crude contains wax. It's a heavy crude. And from your presentation or your discussion, I didn't hear anything how we're going to treat that wax, because waxy crude is, production of waxy crude is another thing entirely, and if you don't take time, the problem that was encountered during F period, you may also encounter it, because I know of another company that abandoned 2 fields due to waxy crude. Thank you.
Let's take like 2 or 3 questions together, then I'll come on it.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation showing what Arade can do. My name is Okechukwu Chijoke. I work for Chapel Energies. In your growth phase where you show a rectangle and other small field, you show the 20 kilometer radius volume for oil, gas, and condensate, 30 kilometer, 40 kilometer. Was that the STOIP or the ultimate recovery? Thank you.
One more.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Ajibola Oyebamiji. I work for Ando. Thank you very much for this fantastic, very interesting, business-driven, value addition presentation. But I don't want to go back to all of the stories. It's very interesting, very exciting. What I would have loved to see, the chairman also mentioned a little bit of it on the HSE side, is the fact that I don't know whether it is part of your operational excellence not to show us seismic sections. Because again, not because of me, again, if you look at the audience, I have a lot of professionals who would like to see the fault, because it's just a single 4-way structure that we are seeing. That fault is not sealing because of the throw 10 feet and all of that. So probably, while they are doing their interpretations and all of that, some of these young professionals will encounter such, and they will know how to deal with it. And just like we all know, meaning that we still have loads and loads of these opportunities in the Delta that is abandoned. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So just 3 questions, and I believe maybe the presenter or you had on quickly. The first one, how do you treat waxy crude to make sure that it doesn't plug up your line, it doesn't cause problem for you? The second question is the volume that you assign, are they UR or STOIP? And the final one is seismic expression on the backdrop for people to actually appreciate what you are talking about. Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll do justice to that. I'll answer the ones that are simple, and the professionals here will answer the difficult ones. For wax, very excellent observation there. For us, it's one of the things that we have looked into. And one of the things we've done whilst we were re-entering the wells, we're taking samples of the crude as it is to understand what the cloud point is. For treating wax, there are 2 ways. You either go at it with chemical or you go at it with heat. You heat treat it. All right, you take it above the cloud point. Those are the 2 mechanisms we're looking at, but we're also collaborating with, back then, 20, 30 years ago, or somewhat, you may not have that technology. Today, we have technology to address wax, and we're collaborating with a lab, or as, how do I put it, a consulting firm whose forte is addressing wax issues. So for us, it's going to be a balance between chemical and heat treatment, because again, remember, we want to go with low OPEX If you go the chemical route, it's higher OPEX. You can, continue to pump that. So it's going to be a balance between where do I attack with chemical and where do I attack with the heat treatment. And we'll be maximizing or optimizing the kind of chemical if we're going to use it, and also address the point at which we're going to be injecting. Those things are all being worked and looked into, because like you said, it could make or mar the project, and that's very critical for us. The second one, the data you got there is from McKinsey, and typically they report recoverables. So that's what's recoverable from those stranded assets, and that's what we've captured. Yeah, the source of that data is from McKinsey, right? The third one is, I didn't go to school for geology, so let me give it to the geologist.
Okay. Indeed, we had a number of seismic sections in the presentation originally, but in the interest of time, we had to take that out to be able to focus on what it is that we want to show, which is the transformative journey of the asset. So we had to take that out, to give the right kind of element,
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now that the conversation is, my name is Yomi Adejonwo, Verity Geosolutions. Now that the conversation has gone into seismic, I see that you have a plant seismic, high resolution. Is the planning of a seismic, have you optimized it for reservoir management? So looking at time-lapse seismic, requiring the existing seismic, probably acquired by Total, and the one that you plan to acquire.
More question?
Good afternoon. My name is Okoyemi Ibukun, Agile IT and Education. My question is this. I wanted more details on the sand exclusion strategy. What you doing downhole, as well as more on the sand catches. Then with respect to, I think the last slide, I guess, here where you talked about unlocking value. I was just thinking about, instead of you taking on more stranded field, because of course I don't understand Aradel's capacity in terms of looking at a lot of fields. But I was just thinking about it where it could be in terms of capacity building, where maybe Aradel, based on the in-house capability, can come up maybe with a master's in marginal field development course that the industry can benefit. And even that would even help with young professionals and even upcoming talents, generate the talents for people. We should have more marginal field operators like Aradel. Imagine having 10 or 100 of that, what that could do. So I think that's a plea that maybe the management of Aradel could look into. Thank you.
Okay. Question? We address those one. One is time lapse for reservoir management. And the second one talking about sand exclusion downhole. And the third one is building capacity around being able to come up with a framework that can guide people on marginal field development, including costing, so that people coming behind can understand and learn from it. Thank you.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry, just to add to the question. So my name is Jerry from Gensha. So it's directed to the subsurface evaluation. So I discovered that from your quad neutron tool, you also acquired porosities. So I wanted to know how these porosity are comparable to the ones from open hole.
So let's take everything.
Okay, I think I'll address the first one on seismic. indeed, part of our plan is to acquire high-resolution 3D seismic data as part of our phase 2. Now, and as you rightly suggested, time lapse, looking at what it is, what has existed, and that's all in the works for us. Even above and beyond that is the fact that the current vintage of data that we have beyond the 3 seconds is really very fuzzy. So that doesn't support our aspirations for deep, explorations. So indeed, we'll be looking at, high-res 3D seismic data that's going to be, focused on, going as deep as current technology will allow. So that's something that we are planning on. The question on porosity, how comparable is it, to the open hole logs? Based on what we've seen so far, indeed it is comparable. And then with a combination of the gamma, the neutron, and some other, I'm sure proprietary technology that the tool comes with, you're able to also see a little bit more beyond what you conventionally see, from your open hole logs. And I know that there are also open hole equivalents for this tool, available with the various service providers. It's just that it's a bit, compared to the traditional tools, it's a bit pricey, but I can assure you that the value you generate from that marginal increase in price will more than make up for it.
Okay, so let me answer the question about sound control. So in terms of sound control, we didn't show you the details yet because of the slide constraint, but typically you're going through a selection process of the sound control options are available, and then you're now going to a design. In terms of the selection criteria, you look about effectiveness, you talk about remaining reserve, you talk about costs. So we look at those. And then in terms of design, you take core, you look at the core analysis, you're doing gray size analysis, and then you end up with either the slot size or the grabber size. And also we have a lot of database where you look at performance and analog in the Niger Delta. So in this case, we choose one that is very, very optimal based on our performance, Niger Delta, and based on what we've done in other fields that we operate. If you see me when we close, I can give you more details. And then I'll speak a little bit about what you said about developing capacity. So we pride ourselves that we have an industry school, and then we have people in the industry school that are working with us now. We give them about a year training, and then they come also go through a process of learning that is hands-on. I happen to be one of the faculty in this training. But we could look at part of what you said now as one of the module or something about it. But in terms of capacity training, we have an industry school that take people right from the reservoir straight to the sales point, and then you go through all the learnings, and practically you come to the field, and we turn you to what we call a roughneck, where you go to the field. Because what we found is that you can be very intelligent in putting things in AI, but you have to be a roughneck. So we take you to the field and make you a roughneck so that when you're in the office, you understand what the people are saying when you not become the guy up the top, if I use that. Thank you.
All right. I think the question is about developing small mom and pop to go into the field and develop the fields themselves. Maybe I got it wrong. Is it about teaching people how to do marginal field or setting them up for it? I think that's the question. Marginal field is not selling tomatoes and pepper. There's no school that you go to say this is, once you've learned it, then you go out there. No, it's much more than that. I think what we're asking is, let there be collaboration. Can people come together and decide this is how we're going to develop it? It's not rocket science. It's all about strategies and philosophies. And I think the Seplats of this world, ourselves, and some other independents are there. You can learn from, what we've done, but it's more, can we come together? Can we farm into, and can people decide, look, this one's we can let go, or we can collaborate and partner with the guys who have done it and got the T-shirt for it, and learn from them and, glean from their experience. That's what I think we should be looking at.
Line.
Okay.
So there are 4 questions here, or even more, but one single person has 3 questions.
One single person.
Yes. Olabisi Akadiri. Apart from the physical sand to sand juxtaposition of some reservoirs on either side of the fault, does the pressure and fluid contact data prove that the fault is not sealing? That's one of our questions. Number 2, excellent use of the QUAD logging tool. When targeting the bypassed oil with relatively high water saturation, if the sand quality is poor, how will you minimize early water onset that might make your recovery uneconomic? Number 3 question from the same person is, does Aradel own those fields in the 40-kilometer radius? I see diverse operators in the slide. If Aradel doesn't own the field, what is the value proposition that is within your control? So should I just go ahead to the first question so that you answer everything together? Then the next question is from Wole Shebioba. Excellent presentation from the Aradel team. Of course, I don't expect less from a pioneer company. I heard something about the gas utilization from the field and pinpointed the presenter saying an agreement has been reached to power the data center in the vicinity. Just checking if I heard right. Can you throw some more light on this? Those are all the questions online. Thank you.
All right. I think the first question was about fluid contact and pressure and all of that. I think the chairman alluded to that in his comment. It's something that we'll have to go look into to establish, because we're in the process of the fact that it's been recognized as 2 distinct fields. We actually, from the regulators, they've given us 2 different names for them. So for them, it's 2 different fields, but we have to make a justification to say, look, they're not different. We want to, combine them. It's 1 field. Now, gathering our data and putting a justification together will require all that you have said. So it's something that is work in progress, because we've engaged them and they've said, okay, come back if you do have, a justification for it, and then we will reallocate that field. So it's something that we'll do. With regards to water breakthrough, one of the challenges, if you do have, a heterogeneous reservoir, sometimes you may not be able to control water breakthrough. So if water breaks through for you, that's where you probably would then need artificial lifting or artificial mechanism to continue to produce. Now, if you're able to manage the water on surface, or at least you have a sink for the water, early water breakthrough might not be a problem, because then what that means is that you're able to manage the water, but you're still able to improve the recovery from that terrain. Now, what that tool has enabled us to understand is that there are flow units within the body of a reservoir. Some of them are not flushed. So when you're going to perforate, you target those flow units that are, you look at the lithology of that flow units. You also then look at the ones that have not been flushed, and that's the place you perforate. So it's intelligent perforation that is going to help you to manage the water. But of course, when water comes, you're dead in the, it comes, it is what it is, then you manage it. So 2 steps. First, you go for, you know, the flow units that will give you the, you know, your buck for the bank. And then you then put in a philosophy that helps you to manage the water when it breaks through. The third question about what are we proposing for the 30, 40, 20 kilometer. There are various operators there. And if you look at it, a lot of them are majors. For a major company, for instance, a stranded field that has only 2 million barrels means nothing. When they're doing their annual whatever budgeting or allocation, it wouldn't even meet the cutoff. So such majors can look at those smaller stranded stuff and say, guys, we think you can do something with this, take it over. And it's proximal to your facility. Let's do a farm out agreement. That's what Total did with Olo. And that's where we are, right? So the proposal is look at what is there. Rather than keep it there and it's not value to the nation, you can do a farming or farm out. And it mustn't be Aradel. You can farm out to someone else that then can partner with us. In Genshire, for instance, Egbolom was one of the fields in that 40 kilometer radius. Today, Egbolom can produce because we've enabled them. They have an outlet. They have an evacuation route. That's the value proposition. You know, if there are marginal fields who the takeoff inertia is so much for them, they can surmount that, then they can talk to a Seplat or talk to, you know, an Aradel, you know, to say, can you help us develop this? And we enter into a profit sharing ratio or whatever it is, some construct that allows everybody to have a win-win at the end of the day. I hope that answers the question. The fourth one was what? Remind me again. Okay, gas utilization. All right. So just to clarify what you heard, for the gas utilization, we've signed a GSPA with a third party. What the third party will do is to take the gas from us, generate power, and power a data center. We actually are with the same arrangement we're having for Olo. We also have for our Omirelu field as well as we speak. GSP has been signed with that with Axela, for instance. Axela, we all know that they're a big name in gas. They will take that gas, they will generate power from it, and then power a data center. But other than that, it goes beyond just the data center. You can power, you can do CNG from it, you can do LNG from it, but for us, that's not our forte. So look for those whose core competence is doing gas, and let them take that gas off you, utilize it. The bottom line is we will not impact the environment by flaring. It's a stake in the ground, and we're working towards that. I hope that answers the 4 questions.
Thank you very much. So over to you, Chairman. So maybe you just give your last remark and have photo session.
The last remark, if you say I should give last remark, is to thank everyone.
On this panel.
On this panel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I believe the panel actually have done quite a lot to all the questions that run from community to waxy crude treatment to reservoir management, which is time-lapse data. And the last question, which is more value proposition, talking around profit sharing, where you begin to say you want to farm it into any of the stranded field and all that. So to me, it actually buttresses the framework, the philosophy for saying there is a need for us to continue to create value, sustainable value, and the value that every stakeholders will feel. That is, when we talk about stakeholders, we talk about the people that put their money in and the key stakeholders that can stop your work. And I always say it, there are some stakeholders, they don't have to put money in, but they can make sure you don't move at all. So while you watch over those ones that bring their money, you equally must manage those that can stop your work from moving. And for a marginal field, that focus must be there. Community, flare out, environment, in fact, social empowerment is very important. So far, so good. I would say restoring value where others are saw decline is what we're seeing here. And then we'll continue to pursue that. And I'll say thank you very much to the audience and thank you, the part. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and the panel list. You know, I want us to clap for this panel. You know what? We started a bit late, and on my agenda, this session is meant to finish at 1 o'clock. What's it by your time? Exactly 1 o'clock. Thank you very much for keeping to time. So photo session, and please bring the gifts here. I need someone to help hold this. The two speakers, yes. So on behalf of NAPE, we present this to you. Thank you. So next presenter. Thank you, sir. So the CEO, please.
Does that qualify me as a fellow? You need to give me a fellowship.
So Richie. Thank you for coming out from and to our chairman, well, have I given you this? Sorry? Yeah. Okay. Our national man, we want to continue to see more of you. Thank you very much for accepting it. Oh, yeah, where's his own? No. Thank you very much. So we'll have group picture. Okay, group picture. I'll point this out to them. So please let's have so after the first talk, I'll call on any past president of NAPE here to join us. Thank you. Any past president of NAPE? So I don't need two of you. Or any expo. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yes. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Really. Thank you.
My sister.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda, I would like to also appreciate another fellow of NAPE who came in while the panel session was on, Dr. Akintunde Karim, FNAPE. Welcome, sir. Also online, we have one of our executive members, Dr. Shofolabo Adekunle, is online with us. Thank you very much. So at this point, I will invite, hello, the meeting is still on, please. At this point, for sponsors' remarks, I will invite Dr. Ebenezer Age, Chief Technical Officer, Aradel, to give us the sponsors' remarks. We need a sponsor's remarks. We can't just come here, free. It was sponsored by Aradel. If not for Aradel, we wouldn't have been here today. Both for everything, including the lunch. So we need a sponsor's remark from you. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I think it's me standing in between you and the lunch, so I'll make it very, very brief, because sometimes when the hunger calls, you probably won't listen to what I'm saying. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols duly observed. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself today. On behalf of Aradel Holdings, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the organizers of this event for inviting us to host these NAPE technical and business meeting session. Like I said, we held the one for last year, the last one for the year. This year, we're holding the last one. So if you people are good to us, maybe we'll host the next one for next year. Aradel, like you know, one of our shareholders accosted me this morning and I say, Oga, you know, we're working for you. Is the foremost independent energy company committed to delivering sustainable energy solutions that drive economic growth. You can already tell that by what we've presented today. Our relationship with NAPE spans many years, and we are proud once again to support and participate in this important technical session. In August, I remember I was here this year. I was delighted to attend the NAPE 50th anniversary milestone event, and we acknowledge the vital role that NAPE continues to play in shaping the energies landscape in Nigeria. Aradel represents a model example of the immense potential of Nigeria's energy industry. We have continually and continued to demonstrate what is possible, even in challenging environments. Through innovation, discipline, and resilience, we draw from our business strategy of robustness, of resilience, and redundancy. What makes Aradel unique in its history as the company was founded was because it was founded on the vision of transforming and abandoning of an abandoned marginal field into a thriving, sustainable business, proving that success is possible within the Nigeria's oil and gas landscape, even from the humble beginnings. Our founders believed in creating a company that ordinary Nigerians could invest in and benefit from. Today, we are proudly listed on the NGX, and through strategic investments, we have diversified our portfolio of assets. Through our fully owned upstream subsidiary, Aradel Energy, we have produced crude oil for export since achieving first oil in 2005. So we've been producing now for 20 years continuously. The Owele story highlights the vital role that indigenous operators play in strengthening Nigeria's energy security, stimulating the local economy, and building capacity to meet the nation's energy needs. In addition, our gas subsidiary, Aradel Gas, has contributed to Nigeria's zero flare agenda by eliminating routine flaring from our operation. I thought that demands another round of applause. We set up and put in place a gas flaring facility capable of handling 100 million scuff per day gas processing plant. This was commissioned in 2012 and is still ongoing as we speak. We also have contributed to the domestic energy needs through our refinery, our modular refinery. It's on record that Aradel is the first to own a modular refinery. We don't make a lot of noise about it, but we are the first. What started as a chopping plant, 1,000 barrels per day, today boasts of 11,000 barrels per day refinery, manufacturing 5 grades of products. These strategic investments reflect our commitment to integration and value creation across the energy chain. Today, the Aradel team will we are demonstrating capacity, and that's what we've shown in our presentation, that we're taking bold initiatives, to create value. We are all about value, identifying, creating, and sustaining value for our dear nation. I will put a stop there. It's a long one, but I'll shorten it so that you can get straight to your lunch. Thanks for attending this session. I hope it's been educative, and I hope that we've gained a lot from what we have shared. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much. And I can say on behalf of everyone that it's been educative. Thank you very much. So quickly, we'll move into announcement. Can you please project? The first announcement is, this is the last technical business meeting for this year. And it is I think the 10th technical meeting for the year. How time flies. So on the screen, we have the announcement. And as we know, the next technical meeting, we have chapters. It's not only Lagos technical meeting we have every month. We have chapters meetings. There's one coming up in Benin chapter in this month of October 30th, which is on Thursday next week. And the topic is as shown on the screen, laboratory analysis of mineralogy and poor connectivity in siliclastic and carbonate reservoirs, Denver based in USA. Please mark it on your calendar. Join, it is virtual, 11 a.m. next week, Thursday. Next one. And now we are moving into the conference that's annual international conference of NAPE for year 2025. So we'll kickstart that with a golf tournament, and it's themed Loud in Uyo. We are moving to Uyo next week, Saturday, 1st of November. Next week, Saturday, 1st of November for the golf tournament. If you're interested, please register to attend. Pre-conference will come up on November 5th. And as you can see on the screen, we have lined up speakers. If you've not registered, please quickly register. It's going to be a great one. The top theme for the day is recent trends in divestment and acquisitions in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, near and long-term implications. The keynote speaker is Mr. Demola Beru. Please make it a date. Next. On the 7th of November is our pre-conference virtual field trip. And you can see the details is on the flyer. If you look at your social media, you have all these flyers there. we also want you to participate in this. Next one. So the All Convention luncheon, opening ceremony flyer is not here, but the opening ceremony for this year's conference is on the 10th of November, 9 a.m. And I can assure you, we will start 9 a.m. No matter the number of people we have in there, we'll start 9 a.m. Please note that, because immediately after that, we'll move into All Convention luncheon. And the theme is improving the ease of doing business in Nigeria. To give the keynote address is the MD CEO of Bank of Industry. And we also have the founder of Beyond Limits Global, and she's also the former director of Google West Africa. So mark your calendar for these days. Next one. So on Tuesday, 11th of November, we have our technical session, management session, which we'll hold from 9 a.m. Also, please note this. All these adverts for our conference, we have started, putting them on our social media platform. And another thing we did differently this year, we did outdoor publicity. If you go to the airport, you see the billboard with NAPIV. You see the billboard, it will be there for 30 days. So you can't tell me, oh, I forgot. If you go to the airport, you see. You are coming from Oworo, you see. In VI here, those LD screens, you see it for the next 3 weeks. It will be showing on a daily basis. So mark your calendar. NAPE cannot be hidden. NAPE cannot be hidden. Next one. So African Nights. That's another one. Evening of 11th of November. Please note it and get ready to attend. Next one. Then we have young professional activities on Monday at 2 p.m. We can't say, continue to call out all this, but I know you will check the website and the social media for all details. We have NAPE YP Energy Tech Pitchathon. Next one. We have Geoscience Challenge, both quiz competition. Then again, the conference that is themed Revitalizing the Nigerian Petroleum Exploration and Production Strategy for Energy, Security, and Sustainable Development is coming up from November 9th to November 13th. We'll start with the icebreaker on Sunday in this hotel, in Eco Hotel here. So if you've not registered, please go ahead. This year, I know we'll have overflow, and you must register to secure your seats. It is getting too late, but it's not too late. I've said it now. Go ahead and register for this year's conference. We can't wait to have you all there. Thank you very much. Is there any other thing? Pre-conference short courses. If you go for courses, if you register, go for courses, you know how much it costs to register for courses. But we have 8 lined up courses for this year. Not only geoscience, it costs across every sector, economic and of oil and gas. You have leadership, you have on sequence stratigraphy, even on drilling. So those are the courses. You can send your staff. It is cheaper for you. The same training you'll be paying thousands of dollars and all that for, you will get the same thing from here on the 8th and 9th of November. Please, if you've not registered, we have limited space. Please get your staff registered for this course, and they will not regret coming for it. Thank you very much, and God bless. And again, our chairman, thank you for the excellent work you did. And the speakers, thank you very much, the panelists, and to Aradel as a whole, thank you for giving us this excellent presentation today and helping us to close the technical and business meeting of this year in Lagos, technical meeting in Lagos, excellently. We had to get in more seats. This place was filled to the brim. Eco Hotel had to bring more seats, behind. And online, we have many people who participated. It was really an enlightening paper. And thank you for not holding any information. You made it real. And I believe many have learned from this. And I also wish that many of those who are here today and who are online, who are part of those who won the 57 fields, because a lot have been said here today that will help, those awardees to work their assets and take it from nothing to one that will shine. Thank you very much, and God bless. So lunch time. What's that? Okay, so lunchtime, all fellows and our chairman and panelists, Aradel, you can have your lunch outside. There's a serving point outside, and others can use one behind and the other one on my right. Let's quickly grab our lunch so that we can go back to work. Thank you, everyone. All those who are online, we appreciate you. Thank you. Everyone here, we appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you for coming. And the Lord will, I hope, and I look forward to seeing you all at this Eco Hotel come 9th to 13th November. God bless.
The Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE, is delighted to announce its 23rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition, scheduled to hold from 9th to 13th of November 2025 at the Eco Hotels and Suites, Victoria Island in Lagos, Nigeria. This flagship event of the association will convene industry leaders, professionals, policymakers, researchers, and stakeholders under the theme revitalizing the Nigerian exploration and production strategies for energy security and sustainable development.
Hello. One more thing. If you have registered for the conference, you are free to attend the pre-conference. You don't need to pay for the pre-conference. So once you register for the main conference, the door is open for you to attend the pre-conference. Please take note of that. Non-members, you can also pay to attend. It is cheap. It's something you can take, and just pay for. Thank you.
Night and enjoy a variety of fun and social events designed to foster collaboration and camaraderie. The NAPE Annual International Conference and Exhibition remains the largest gathering of petroleum explorationists and energy professionals in sub-Saharan Africa and an unparalleled platform for knowledge exchange, collaboration, and innovation aimed at driving the future of Africa's exploration and production sector. Some of our sponsors include, but not limited to, NAPE 2025 Conference Sponsorship categories: Titanium category, Seplat Energy PLC, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, ENI, Shell Exploration and Production Company, Chevron Nigeria Limited, ND Western Limited, Aradel Holdings PLC, Pan Ocean and New Cross EP and New Cross Petroleum, Renaissance Africa Energy, Energia Limited, NNPC Energy Services Limited, Omni International Petroleum Development Company Limited, ExxonMobil, Unicel Group, Platinum Company, First Exploration and Production Company Limited, GCA Energy Limited, Hess Energy Limited, Total Energy, Zcrest Group, Ripon Marine Contractors RMC, Gulf Energy, TGS, Gold Company, NNPC Pipeline and Stock. Introducing NAPE's 43rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition. The Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE, is delighted to announce its 23rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition, To hold from 9th to 13th of November 2025 at the Eco Hotels and Suites, Victoria Island in Lagos, Nigeria. This flagship event of the association will come professionals, policymakers, researchers, and stakeholders under the revitalizing the Nigerian exploration and production strategies for energy security and sustainable development. The conference brings together industry leaders, professionals, scholars, and stakeholders from across the globe for an engaging week of knowledge learning, networking, and celebration. This year's edition promises an array of impactful activities, including interactive workshops, technical paper presentations, and a dynamic exhibition showcasing the latest cutting-edge technologies in the oil and gas industry. Highlights of the event will also include an award night dedicated to honoring individuals who have rendered exceptional service to the industry, as well as the formal inauguration of a new executive committee. Attendees will have the opportunity to immerse themselves in Nigeria's rich heritage during the African Night and enjoy a variety of fun and social events designed to foster collaboration and camaraderie. The NAPI Annual International Conference and Exhibition remains the largest gathering of petroleum explorationists and energy professionals in sub-Saharan Africa and an unparalleled platform for knowledge exchange, collaboration, and innovation aimed at driving the future of Africa's exploration and production sector. Some of our sponsors include, but not limited to, NAPI 2025 Conference Sponsorship Categories: Titanium Category, Seplat Energy PLC, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, ENI, Shell Exploration and Production Company, Chevron Nigeria Limited, ND Western Limited, Aradel Holdings PLC, Pan Ocean and New Cross EP and New Cross Petroleum, Renaissance Africa Energy, Energia Limited, NNPC Energy Services Limited, Hamni International Petroleum Development Company Limited, ExxonMobil, Unicel Group, Platinum Company, First Exploration and Production Company Limited, GCA Energy Limited, Hess Energy Limited, Total Energy, Zcrest Group, Ripon Marine Contractors RMC, Gulf Energy, TGS, Gold Company, NNPC Pipeline and Storage Company, Ingesia Energies Limited, DigiConnect Nigeria, LOJ Group, Sahara Energy Group, Kenyon International, Silver Category, Lacostrine Energy, Boca Energy Resources Limited, Petro Data Management Services Limited, Matrix Energy Group, AA Holdings, Closed Category, Alpharetta Energy, Halliburton and Landmark, Geoplex Drill Techs Limited, Woolwork Services Limited, Nice Energy Limited, Danvik Petroleum International, EMR, Havex Geosolutions, Dr. Iberi Bernard, Atron Category, Vento Furniture, Africa Oil and Gas Report, Pro Ally, Golf Tournament Sponsors, Tokan Energy Resources, NLNG, Renaissance Africa Energy, Seplat Energy, SLB, Chevron Nigeria, NNPC High Preps, Hobart Nigeria, Total Energies, Resource Church Hill Limited. Join us in Lagos this November as we shape the future of petroleum exploration in Nigeria and beyond. Celebrate excellence and create lasting memories in the heart of Africa's energy capital. See you there.
My name is John Bosco Uche, a fellow and the president of Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE. I am super excited to invite every single one of you, our distinguished members, our friends and associates, to the 43rd NAPE Annual International Conference and Exhibition, holding from the 9th to 13th of November 2025 at the Eco Hotel and Suites, Lagos, Nigeria. The theme is revitalizing the Nigerian petroleum exploration and production strategies for energy security and sustainable development. It promises to be amazing, and you cannot afford to miss it. I'm looking forward to seeing every single one of you attending and participating.
Good day, everyone. I want to specially invite you to the 43rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE. It will take place at the Eco Hotel and Suites from 9th November to 13th November 2025. We have about 19 lined up events, over 60 exhibitors, and other events that you will enjoy. So I look forward to you attending, and I look forward to seeing you there. If you have not registered, please go ahead and register now. Good day, everyone. I want to specially invite you to the 43rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE. It will take place at Eco Hotel and Suites from 9th November to 13th November 2025. We have about 19 lined up events, over 60 exhibitors, and other events that you will enjoy. So I look forward to you attending, and I look forward to seeing you there. If you have not registered, please go ahead and register now to secure your seat. See you there. Hello, everyone. I am Olajumoke Cecilia Ajayi, MD CEO of Ingentia Energies Limited, also the President-elect of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE. I want to invite you for the 43rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition of Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE, that will take place at Eco Hotel and Suites from 9th of November to 13th of November 2025. The theme of this year's conference is Revitalizing the Nigerian Petroleum Exploration and Production Strategies for Energy Security and Sustainable Development. Key consideration of this theme are the reserve replacement, the current industry reality, that's the divestment of onshore assets, shallow waters, and offshore by the IOCs to the indigenous players. And there's a tendency by operators to focus on reserve production of the existing proven reserves, and also ramping up that without looking at reserves replacement, such as looking deeper for more opportunities that are yet to be discovered, and also upside potentials. So what we will be focusing on, we are talking of energy security, we are talking of sustainable development. So we have to look at how the existing reserves, depleting reserves can be replaced. So exploration activities will be part of what will be discussed at this conference, and capacity building will also be discussed, because if we want to have energy security and sustainable development, we need manpower. So one thing that I'm glad about is that the current administration is committed to incentivizing exploration activities for oil and gas, and which I believe will give confidence to operators and investors to commit funds to exploration activities. So this year's conference brings together experts who will discuss key issues and provide solutions that will help us address all the concerns that we have in the industry that will be discussed at the conference. For this year's conference and exhibition, we have about 19 events lined up for the entire week. And the conference will be started off with the golf tournament that will take place at Uyo in Akwa Ibom State on 1st of November. This will help us all to shake up to prepare for the exciting programs that we have ahead. Following the golf tournament is the pre-conference workshop sponsored by Energy Limited. And it will take place at Eco Hotel and Suites on 5th of November, Wednesday, 5th of November, 2025. The theme of the year will focus on one of the key considerations of our conference team, which is the recent trends in divestment and acquisition in Nigerian oil and gas industry, near and long-term implication. And the keynote speaker is Engineer Ademola Adeyemi Bero, Managing Director, CEO of First E&P Limited and Nigerian's governor to OPEC. The venue is Latana Hall, Eco Hotel, and this event is sponsored by Energia Limited. Next to that is the conference virtual field trip. And the theme of the field trip is Calabar Flank in Perspective, Insight into Atlantic Rifted Margin Petroleum System. The sponsor of the virtual field trip is DigiConnect Nigeria Limited. And between 8th and 9th of November, from 9 a.m. till evening of each day, will be the conference short courses. The short courses are 8 in number, and the courses will focus on all areas of the industry. It will cut across technical, business, communication, and leadership. So I will enjoin you to register your staff, be it technical geoscience staff or non-technical. They will gain from these short courses for 2 days, 8th of November to 9th of November. On Saturday, 8th of November by 6 p.m., we'll have our President's Night's event. At this event, the president will give awards to those who have contributed especially to the success recorded in the course of the year. An award will also be given to long-standing members of the association. This will take place at Whitbaker Hotel, Ikoyi, Lagos, and this event is sponsored by GCA Energies. Now moving into the conference, the icebreaker. The icebreaker of the event will happen on Sunday, 9th November at 6 p.m. at Eco Hotel, poolside of Eco Hotel. That's when the conference proper is about to take off. And members will meet at 6 p.m. by the poolside of Eco Hotel to experience the icebreaker. The opening ceremony of the 43rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition will take place on Monday, 10th November 2025 at 9 a.m. This event is sponsored by Seplat Energies Limited. The theme again is revitalizing the Nigerian petroleum exploration and production strategies for energy security and sustainable development. The special guest of honor and the conference keynote speaker is Olubukola Arowolo Vahayan, Special Advisor to the President on Energy Matters. Sponsor's keynote speaker is Roger Brown, CEO Seplat Energy. Special guest, Senator Dr. Enikin Lokobiri, Honorable Minister of State Petroleum Resources. Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, Commission Chief Executive, NUPRC. Engineer Amadou Musa Kida, Non-Executive Chairman, NNPCL Board. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Executive Governor of Lagos State. Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, Executive Governor of Ondo State. Felix Ogbe, Executive Secretary, NCDMB. CEOs of servicing and producing companies, Vice Chancellors of universities, presidents of sister organizations, and others will be present. Immediately after the opening ceremony is the exhibition tour. We have over 60 exhibitors this year, and that will take place from 12 o'clock to 1 p.m. And at exactly 1 p.m., we'll go back to the All Convention Luncheon. The All Convention Luncheon this year will take place at Eco Hotel at 1 p.m. November 10th, and this is sponsored by AMNI, one of our oil-producing companies. The theme is improving the ease of doing business in Nigeria. To give the keynote address is Dr. Olashupo Olusi, Managing Director, CEO of Bank of Industry. And looking at this theme, the keynote address will be delivered by Dr. Juliet Eyimwa, founder Beyond Limits Global and former director of Google West Africa. So on the same Monday, we have basin evaluation competition where top 5 Nigerian universities will be evaluated, and Young Professional Leadership Forum. On the 11th, Tuesday, 11th November at 9 a.m., we'll have the management session. The theme for the management session this year is driving operational efficiency and human capital development in the oil and gas sector towards economic advancement. Keynote speech will be delivered by Engineer Tony Atta, Managing Director, CEO of Renaissance Africa Energy Company. On the panel, we'll have Jim Swartz, MD, Chairman, Chevron Nigeria, Matthew Boyer, MD, CEO, Total Energies, Olayemi Adeboyejo, Commission Secretary and Legal Advisor, NUPRC, Rocco Detomo, Chief Technical Officer, DBIG Energy Limited, and so on. On the same day, Tuesday, 11th November at 2 p.m., we'll have Tech Business Forum, themed Technology as a Force Multiplier, Maximizing Nigerians' Energy Resources. The keynote speaker is Abdul Rahman Mijin Yawa, CTO, Renaissance Africa Energy Company, and some other speakers. Africa Night happens that evening, but this year gotten a bigger space to accommodate the number of participants. It will happen at Arbor Point at 6 p.m. on the same Tuesday at 11th November. This is sponsored by NNPCL. On Wednesday, SO Energies will sponsor the Young Professional Energy Tech Pitch-a-thon competition at 8 a.m. Wednesday, 12th of November. We are introducing a few brand new programs this year to expand the value of our conference. One of them is the NAPE Finance and Investment Forum, themed From Rig to Retirement, Smart Investment Strategies for Oil and Gas Professionals. The session will be moderated by Rotus Odiri, broadcast journalist, Arise TV. And it will happen between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. of Wednesday, 12th November. This event is sponsored by Zcrest Group. The second new event that we've added to our program is the University Industry Meetup Cocktail event. And what this stands to do is strengthen the collaboration between students, academia, and professionals, bridging the gap between learning and real-world practice. On the evening of the same day, at 4:30 p.m., the women in geoscience and engineering will meet to have conversation. The event this year is themed Building a Sustainable Future Through Innovation and Leadership. And the keynote speaker for that event is Grace Ofure, Global Real Estate Investment Strategist, CEO, Livecard International. The Women in Geoscience event is sponsored by ExxonMobil, RMC, Pan Ocean New Cross EMP, and New Cross Petroleum. On Thursday, 13th November 2025, we'll have the executive session, which is themed Financing the Future of Nigeria's Energy Sector, Navigating Energy Transition and Driving Sustainable Development. This event is done in partnership with Energy Institute, and it is sponsored by Pan Ocean New Cross. The keynote address will be delivered by Senator George Akume, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, Secretary General of ACO, and other speakers will be at the event. To close the conference of this year is the awards night that will happen at Eco Hotel at 6 p.m. on 13th November 2025. The sponsor of the awards night is Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company. Having listened to all the lined up events, I don't expect you to be anywhere else than to be at Eco Hotel in the week of 9th November to 13th November. If you have not registered, go ahead to secure your seats. I look forward to seeing you there. God bless you. Good day, everyone. I want to specially invite you to the 43rd Annual International Conference and Exhibition of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE. It will take place at Eco Hotel and Suites from 9th November to 13th November 2025. We have about 19 lined up events, over 60 exhibitors, and other events that you will enjoy. So I look forward to you attending, and I look forward to seeing you there. If you have not already